We made $212 from this trade. Peace be upon you and God's mercy and blessings. In a new video from the Olymp Trade series, today's video will really impress you because we'll be sharing a very powerful strategy. It relies on simple indicators, which are the MACD indicator and the MA indicator. That is the moving average. So we'll try to combine these indicators together and, God willing, come up with a strong strategy. It will help us raise our level in trading. After entering the platform, which you'll find linked in the video description, with the platform you find on social media clips. After entering the platform, you add the live indicators. The indicator we need is the available one. We need to change it from 20 to 50, and once we click, it will appear as we want in yellow. We add the second indicator, which you'll find here. Click on MACD. As for the settings, leave them at the default settings. Remove the histogram. As for the settings, set them to 12, 26, 9, then go back and the strategy will be ready. We need to change the time frame, set it to 30 seconds. For the trade duration, set it to 2 minutes, and that's it. That's it, the strategy is now ready for you. So how do we enter trades? How do we spot them? How do we enter for an upward move? And how do we enter for a downward move? Now I will explain everything to you. But before I explain, I recommend you join our private Telegram group. I'll leave the link below the video. There you'll find everything related to trading, so I advise you to join. Let's get right to it. First, here's a very clear example. As you can see, the market was below, meaning under the yellow line. Let's call it the yellow line so we don't repeat ourselves. So it was below the red line, then it moved above it, as you can see at this point. Also, if we look at the MACD here, we had a crossover from below to above. The green line crossed the red line from below to above, and this happened on the MACD, an upward movement. So if these two conditions were met at this point, we should have entered an upward trade, a 2-minute trade, which means we need 4 candles. This is the first candle, this is the second candle, this is the third candle, and this is the fourth candle. So if we had entered here, we would have won right away. This trade is really very simple. So if we look at another example, there was a crossover here and another crossover here, meaning the market was below the MA and then moved above the MA. So at this point, if we had entered, we would have needed this candle, this candle, this candle, and this candle, and this would be an upward movement. And if we had won right away, this trade would be the same with a downward move, as the market was above the MA here, or the yellow line, and it crossed it right at this point. So if we had entered on this candle and waited first for the crossover that happens on the MACD, there was an upward move here, then it turned downward, so this is a signal for a downward move at the crossover point that happened here. If we had entered on this candle or needed this candle and this candle and this candle, and then this drop happened and we would have won this trade right away. That's how it's supposed to work. What do? We wait for the crossover to happen either here or here. If it happens on the MACD, then we wait on the MACD. We wait on the MACD. There is no primary or secondary indicator. We need both of them for the crossovers to occur. So the market is either above the MACD or a crossover happens from below to above and the MACD is on top, so we only focus on upward movement. Or the opposite is true. If the market was above and then moved below and a crossover happened like here, meaning it was above and then went back down, this is basically the new setup. Let's look at another example like what we're seeing here. So a crossover happened here from below to above, meaning the market was below at this point. And then it moved above it at this exact point. If we look at the MACD, there was a crossover from below to above, indicating an upward trend. So if we entered on this candle, we would need 4 candles because we are entering a 2-minute trade. So we would have won right away. If we exited the trade at this point, the signal would be strong. Let's look at a downtrend example. As we can see here, we have a downtrend example. So the crossover happened from above to below, which indicates what? It's a signal for a downtrend. But the market was above the MA, but when the crossover happened from above to below, it means it was above the market and then moved below the market. We could have entered right away on this candle for the downtrend, or if we needed on the second candle, the third candle, or the fourth candle. If this drop happened and we profited immediately from this trade, then it's a very simple strategy. So you wait for crossovers, then you wait for the second crossover to happen. Whether the first one happens here or there, the order is important. The important thing is that both crossovers happen. This one crosses over and is above the market, or this one crosses from above to below and ends up below the market. It's really very simple. Let's get into some examples so you can understand even better. So let's look for the first trade and enter it right away. As we can see with this coin, we entered the short trade right away. Of course, we didn't catch the start of the crossover. We missed that crossover, but let's just enter as if we're following this market. So what happened in this market? The market was above the MA, then they crossed and ended up below the MA. and the MACD crossed from above to below. This indicates a downward move. Here it signals a downward move here. It signals a downward move, 2 trades, a $100 trade during its execution if you work with it from the double trade, which in this situation means the trade amount has been increased to a total of $250, is an important milestone. In other words, this amount is now 2.5 times greater than the sum we initially entered with at the very beginning. This change highlights the growth of our investment as the original entry amount has now expanded to reach this new higher value. So the idea is to make up for the first trade. So we immediately put in $250. Now let's wait for a new trade. Or we could just wait for this trade. As long as we've crossed the OMA line, we just wait for a crossover to happen here. And once a convergence happens, we'll definitely see an upward move. So let's wait. Either a crossover happens here, or we look for another currency if it doesn't happen here. And if we don't see the same scenario happening soon with these currencies as what happened with the previous one, then let's enter directly so that we don't end up entering late like we did with the previous currency. Being late might be what caused us to lose on the last trade because we entered on a late candle, basically on the last candle. Also, the rise that happened here, well, we entered at about the time of the crossover that happened here. Of course, the market was below the MA, so that's a clear signal. That means we entered with our amount, $250, which is double the initial amount, on the basis that there would be a bigger drop, but let's wait for it to finish and see the result of this trade. We made a profit. This trade made $212. So from this trade, we made a very strong profit on the drop and recovered the amount we lost in the first trade. And we also made a profit from the second trade, so the reason for entering was very clear, just as I said. Look, simply put, we entered at the right point at the time of the crossover, and what happened, happened. And that made us profit from this trade as the crossover happened here, which is a signal for a drop. After the MACD was rising, it started to fall. So yes, it's a signal for a drop. The market was above the MA, then it went below the MA, which is also a signal for a drop. We entered on this candle, and this big drop happened, which made us profit from this trade. So an excellent trade overall. I really like this new trade so far because I tried it in more than one trade, in more than 10 or 20 trades, and I also shared some of them. Trades in the private group on our Telegram, and the results have also been very strong. If there's time, I'll include them for you in the editing so you can see the results we've achieved. So let's wrap up like this. Today's video, so we don't make it any longer, let's just finish. 2 trades. One lost, but we made up for it immediately with the second trade. Our profit was $212 or $212.50. You'll find a strong strategy, give it a try, and write to me in the comments below. You can also share your results with me on Telegram, which I'll leave for you. The link is below the video. Or if you want to get strong trades, I recommend you try the free Telegram, which is available. The link is below the video. So that's everything. I hope you liked the video. Don't forget to subscribe and share the video. See you, God willing, in the next video. Bye.